Hi, this is Matthew again, going to talk about the next Beach Boys album. We're still in 1963, and we're going to have the next one called Surfer Girl, based off of course, the song. Backed by Little Deuce Coupe on the backside, which also was a hit. Mostly a surfing-based album. There are a few other things, two about cars and stuff. That will come up again on the next album. Spoiler alert. I've looked ahead. And Murray Wilson wanted more hit songs on the albums. There are a couple of car songs they almost dropped off, but they decided to leave because for that reason. Brian Wilson now takes up full producing control. Still helps some writers helping out with some songs, but full producing is credited to him this time, not to anybody else. So they got that figured out. There was some ballads here, a couple of introspective, one really introspective song, mostly surfing, but a few car ones. They brought in the first time they're using the strings as well, and they bring in the Wrecking Crew for a couple songs. That group of studio musicians that was so big on a lot of recordings and big in music for that era. So they're on here too. Well, hopefully we can see who the Wrecking Crew are. I hope. I hope anyway. I really enjoyed it. It's very good. Mono and stereo again available. There's another album that's in stereo, but it's like a remixed surroundy type thing, and I don't like it for early stereo. It just sounds weird. I don't care for it. I prefer the original regular tracks. They don't do well with, maybe as time goes on it'll be better, but right now they don't do well with me for remixes. I'd rather just have the original stereo and the mono tracks. If you want both, you have to use the mono and stereo version CD or album, not just the one by itself. Otherwise it will not work. So yeah, but we started with side one here. We have Surfer Girl starts out, of course, Brian Wilson credited. Brian Wilson on vocals again, of course. Catch a Wave, which is also great. That's Brian Wilson and Mike Love, with Mike Love and Brian Wilson on vocals. I love that song. The Surfer Moon, that's the string one. Brian Wilson, with Brian Wilson on vocals. That's our string arranging going on here. And then we have South Bay Surfer, The Old Folks at Home, kind of a cover of that, but reworked. Stephen Foster, Brian Wilson, and Al Jardine contributed to that one. Al Jardine is back. The other guy is still here, but he will leave. This came out in September. He leaves in October, so not much longer. I guess Brian Wilson was reluctant to tour, so he brought Al Jardine back in to sing for him and stuff. So that will change as we go, but right now he's not a big tour person. That does change in a little bit. Not quite sure when. Certainly by 64, I'm pretty sure he's with them. So Mike Love and Brian Wilson over vocals there. And then we have The Rocking Surfer. Brian Wilson wrote it. It's an instrumental, pretty good one. Like so, there's like little guitar stuff going on, some little ding 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 things I kind of like. Little Deuce Coupe is wonderful. I love that song. Brian Wilson and Roger Christian wrote it. That's another guy who'll write. Brian Love, of course, great song. I do really like that one. Probably one of my favorites from that kind of era. Side two, though, we have In My Room, that great song. Brian Wilson and Gary Usher. He's still helping write a bit. Brian Wilson, of course, that is a really good song. It's kind of saddish, but I still like it. Still a good track. And then Hawaii, which is kind of catchy. Brian Wilson and Mike Love wrote it, and Brian Wilson and Mike Love also sang on it. That is a catchy tune. Yeah. Not sure they'd been to Hawaii at that point, but they're at least writing about it. So, and then Sifford Prime's Rule. Brian Wilson and Mike Love again. Dennis Wilson and Brian Wilson sing on it. So yeah, you get to hear Dennis Wilson sing the rare songs. That's kind of cool. I thought it was him. Didn't think it was Carl, but it's Dennis. All of his 18 years at that point. Carl's still 16. Our Car Club. Brian Wilson and Mike Love. Mike Love and Brian Wilson sing on it. That's one of the Wrecking Crew tracks. Your Summer Dream. Brian Wilson and Barb Norberg, another guy that was helping write some stuff. And Brian Wilson sings it, of course. And then we end with Boogie Woody, sorry, like the car. Just traditional arranged by Brian Wilson. It's an instrumental. It's pretty cool, actually. I think is it Boogie Woogie or Boogie Woody? Let me double check that. No, yeah, it is Boogie Woody, like the wood paneled station wagons. Okay, making sure I got my stuff there. That is correct. And then they had a issue with it and Shutdown Volume 2, which is not quite yet. But there were bonus tracks again, so we're going to probably see these tracks pop up later, but we'll go through them again and see if they're the same from the other two albums. There were not any bonus track, and once we'll see here. We have... Oh, the single version of Fun, which we aren't to yet, but that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I think there are two, but I think... Yeah, that would be interesting to compare if I can ever find both versions. Because I can't find this version, as I said, so... In my room, a German version, so maybe it's in German. That would be fun to hear. Capital, oh capital, why aren't these available to stream? Sad. Okay, that's unfortunate. And then I do. That Brian Wilson, that Christian, Roger Christian, I think his name was. And that is it. Oh yeah, back to that not awarding credits thing until '94. That happened here on Hawaii and Catch a Wave. So that must have been a big court case. I can't imagine. At least he got credit now, but I can't imagine. That must have been a lengthy court case with all those songs trying to get figured out. And some admit our car club and Little Deuce Coupe. That's sad. But we don't have to worry about that. Al Jardine is harmony backing vocals, bass, and hand claps for our personnel. Mike Love lead vocals and harmony backing vocals, hand claps. It says possible saxophone, but I don't know who else would be playing it at that stage. That's what it says. Brian Wilson lead vocals, harmony backing vocals, piano, organ, bass, producer, and hand claps. Yeah, there's some hand claps. Carl Wilson, harmony backing vocals, lead guitar, Carl Wilson, harmony and backing vocals, lead guitar, hand claps, and possible bass and rhythm guitar. Dennis Wilson lead vocals and backing vocals and drums for Dennis Wilson. David Marks rhythm guitar, possibly harmony and backing vocals. Yeah, David Marks is still here. He will not be in the next album we do. He will not probably be there at that point. If he is, it's very going to be very little involvement. Additional musicians and production staff. Audrey Wilson, organ in my room, and it says uncertain. Maybe that was their sister. I think. Hal Blaine and Tim Bales on. Hal Blaine and it is. Hal Blaine and it is. Timbles? What are those? Possible percussion in my room. I don't know what's a tim. It's spelled. It is spelled. What is Timbales? Timbales. Maybe timbales. Probably what that is. That's kind of cool. Okay, I know what those are. I have seen those. We had them in marching band. There was a guy that played My freshman year in high school, he played on timbales on a song. Okay, yeah, I've seen those. Marine Love, harp on Catch a Wave in Hawaii. So I'm not sure where. Is that their mother? I think it's their mother. I'm not positive. Chuck Britt's audio engineer. Oh, the Wrecking Crew are not mentioned. Does anyone know who the Wrecking Crew were at this point? Oh, it just says currently uncredited additional musicians from the Wrecking Crew, additional instrumentation on Hawaii and Our Car Club, but we don't know who the Wrecking Crew are. Is there a good book on them, people? Is there a good book on these guys that I should go try to find? Preferably on like Bard or Audible or something like that. Yeah, that's a shame. I feel they should be credited with their work. I don't like that. And I'm sure they don't either. Any of them are still alive. And that's sad. Oh, unknown strings on the Surfer Moon. Doesn't say. We don't know who our string players are. That's sad too. They should get credit for their studio time. And that is it. But yeah, very good album. Again, continuing on where they left off. Getting more and more interesting. Trying more different things. It's all surfing in cars for the most part, but still really fun. They play it well. They tried some strings. They tried some other things to make it more interesting. So all in all, I think a very good album. As we'll continue, we'll go to next and hit Little Deuce Coupe next. The album. Again, because more hits on something, so they had to repeat a couple. We'll see if they're the same versions, though. Are they like singles, or did they re-record them? I know there's a couple times where later on in a little bit, there's some song is one way on one album, and they redid it on the next album, and they got a hit out of it from the next album. So, and some of those appeared on a later compilation album in the 70s, but which. I like the album, but I hate the versions they use. But they should have used the ones I'm familiar with, but they don't. But that is not for a while now. We're a good 10 plus years away from having to worry about that in this timeline right now. Yeah, but we'll go to the end of 63 next time and do Little Deuce Coupe. And mono stereo version again, and probably a remixed album that I'll look through, but we'll only listen to the other one. Again, it's on Apple Music. Probably anywhere you stream, you can get all this stuff. I'd like to hear those bonus tracks, though, if anybody can find that. But obviously, most of those are from Shutdown, so I'd like to hear those bonus songs from those reissues. Unless I'm just missing them, and they're like somewhere else hidden around. I don't know, but I will, of course, maybe they'll come up in some other collection and I can talk about them. Also, who knows? I think that will do it for now, though, and I will see you guys in another video.